Did you hear that? I think you probably heard it. All right, so you all know that if you follow the channel, if you've ever driven a Lotus Elise, you know they are pretty raw cars. I mean, there's very little sound deadening in them. There's very few creature comforts. But and I appreciate that. I appreciate that about the car. I love the fact that it's pretty raw. But one thing that drives me nuts is random squeaks and rattles and odd noises that don't sound good. Engine noise, exhaust noise, all that stuff sounds great. I enjoy that part of the car, but it's the random squeaks and rattles that just drive me a little bit crazy. So today I'm going to try to troubleshoot and fix a squeak that I think is coming from the clutch slave cylinder pivot pin. And we're going to try to fix that and get rid of the noise. I think it's pretty simple, just adding a little bit of grease to the pivot pin there. But I'll show you how to do that. So that if you have this problem, you can do it as well. First, let me show you what the noise sounds like. I'm gonna set the camera up, get in the car, and push the clutch pedal so that you can hear it. Did you hear that? I think you probably heard it. All right, so let's dig in and see if we can figure out exactly where that noise is coming from. Not the noise. All right, so the first part of the under tray there is off, and I think that will give us access to what we need to get to the clutch slave. But one thing that you'll note is a lot of Elises, you'll see a lot of these kind of grooves on the underside. They're also on the under part of the chassis. It's just from rocks and stuff like that. Just regular driving causes this. You can't really avoid it, obviously, if you're going to use your car. So just part of the wear and tear. It's pretty cool how Lotus has these like NACA ducts in there too, which are just kind of a neat effect and obviously aid in cooling. Okay, so from here you can see where that clutch sleeve cylinder is at. It is this piece right here, and it pushes on this pin, this little arm right here. And I think that is what's causing the noise. We may inspect under this boot too and see if we need to grease that. But let me hop in the car and I'll press the clutch so you can see this thing actually making the noise. When you sit in the car, it actually sounds like the noise is coming from the actual pedal inside the car, but it's just being echoed through the car and it's actually coming from back there. So it's easy to misdiagnose that. All right, so I've actually got two different greases here that I could use for this. I think I'm gonna go with this industrial kind of typical wheel bearing grease. You can see what it looks like, pretty standard stuff for this use case. I tend to use the lithium grease for things a little bit more like door hinges and other stuff. I don't know if this is really, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna use the lithium grease. I'm gonna use the more traditional grease here. This, make sure you wear glasses while you're doing on this because dirt and stuff's gonna fall in your eyes. You can sort of pull this boot out from the transmission. There's like a little lip around it there where this tucks into the transmission casing. You can sort of pull that out and then you can see what's going on in here and how dry that really is. And so this whole thing pivots, and it pivots up here as well from the slave cylinder. This is the slave cylinder. This is kind of the throwout bearing here. So what we're going to do is we're going to grease this up on the inside here and on this little point here, and then we will test and see if that does the trick. It also helps if you have a little mirror thing, like one of these little contraptions, to kind of see what's going on in there, because it is difficult to get up there. And one thing you want to make sure that you do not do is tear this boot, because this is an important dust cover for dirt and grime and stuff like that from getting down in there in your transmission. So I think I'm going to add the grease up here, and try to get some in here as well, just to make sure that we're all covered. A little grease never hurt anything. A little extra grease, I should say, never really hurt anything. So there we go. Now we got a lot of grease in there. I also greased in here as far down as I could reach on the spring that's on the back side of the clutch fork. So I don't know, hopefully, let's go give it a try. All right, well, we just did the test. I pushed the clutch pedal in and out at least 20, 25 times. I heard no squeak, so I think that totally did the job. So the last thing we have to do is really just put that boot back in the little recess where it goes into the transmission case, and then put the under panel back on, and we're done. Problem solved.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring the bell so you can get notified when we post a new video.